Hi all, my name is Artem Boiko. I'm miner by profession who switched to data miner. I'm co-founder of OpenDataBIM and founder of data-driven construction and bigdataconstruction.com, the companies that develop CAD-independent solutions for the construction industry. The information on the following slides can be accessed via the displayed QR code. This QR code is also on the last slide. In the construction industry, many data and systems interact with each other. To remain competitive, it is important for companies to ensure a fast flow of data to enable rapid decision making and problem solving. Data-driven companies that generate project data flows still lack one open database, the CAD software database, which is an important source of data for our company systems. While databases are typically open systems, CAD and BIM tool databases are still the only closed systems in the ecosystem of construction and design companies. Project data stored in these closed databases is collected over weeks, months, or even years and then transposed into either a closed or specialized complex parametric BIM format. The closed nature of these databases is labeled with the marketing acronyms BIM, CloseBIM, and OpenBIM, which CAD manufacturers invented in 22 and 2012. Despite these BIMs and the advent of information models, productivity in construction has actually decreased, and in some cases the human factor has actually multiplied. And the CAD software market with BIM concepts are represented by two rival companies, Autodesk and Nemetschek Group. Since 2002, the Revit startup built by Autodesk has become an important tool in planning departments, gradually replacing AutoCAD as the main planning tool. Revit has a dominant market position in most countries, with the exception of Kenya, Romania, Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. Autodesk products are standard in America, while in Asia, a Revit version with libraries, finished projects, and courses costs a few dollars. In 23, Autodesk coined the term BIM as marketing strategy. In response, Nemetschek and Trimble introduced the term OpenBIM in 2011 to show that Autodesk BIM data is not accessible to users. These acronyms represent the ideas and developments over the last several decades, which are the result of collaboration between different experts from different countries. The map I created in 2020 shows the connection between the teams. To understand the emergence of marketing concepts, we need to dive a little deeper into history. Revit, which is now more popular than AutoCAD in the construction industry, is the successor to ProEngineer PTC, which was founded by immigrants Leonard Brights and Samuel Geisberg. PTC ProEngineer revolutionized the CAD world and dominated the design market for mechanical engineers for a quarter of a century. ProEngineer was the first company to develop a concept of single data model for the entire project. All leading MCAD systems became its successors. In order to obtain accurate product costs and calculations, this product obtained accurate BOM data from the CAD system using BOM, EBOM, PBOM, MBOM, bills of materials. Later, this concept was also implemented in a second product of Leonid Wright's, Revit. Autodesk, which has been trying to buy another ProEngineer clone, SolidWorks, for several years, acquires Revit in 22 for $130 million. And a year later, two Autodesk vice presidents suddenly published the BIM white paper, heralding the arrival of BOM BIM in the construction sector. At the same time, the major CAD companies went public, eliminating competition among themselves. Financial experts and lobby groups are now at the helm, leading to changes in the technology and development of the construction industry. Large CAD companies today select specific technology niches and acquire startups and patents in what niche to avoid competition. Since the hired management is now determined by boards of directors, the main drivers of company development are not the increase of productivity in the construction industry, but only the price increases of CAD on new BIM tools. As an alternative to the closed formats of the construction industry, we are offered a quasi-open EFC format. EFC was the idea of Leonard Obermeyer, who after the construction of the Olympic objects in Munich was looking for a format through which information could be exchanged between different material suppliers from all the world. Depending on international projects, Leonard Obermeyer worked closely with American head of company Patrick McClemy, Hawk. In 1994, Obermeyer registered the EFC format in America and transferred all rights to Autodesk, which built lobby organization around the format. Patrick McClemy continues as chairman of board of BuildingSmart, as do our key members of BuildingSmart board who were directly or indirectly associated with Autodesk. And today in some countries, Autodesk executives also lead BuildingSmart organization across entire regions. The rapid success of Revit has started to ruin the business of European CAD vendors. With the advent of Revit in Europe, Graphisoft and Trimble started to invest all their energy in supporting the EFC format in their products. The marketing product OpenBIM was invented by Graphisoft and Trimble in 2011 for promotional support. Today, the EFC format is sufficient for geometry exchange in most cases. But when it comes to 4D or 5D, such as volume, time, or cost, a careful check of the data quality is required. However, as soon as we use EFCs from Nemetric CAD software in our products or ERP systems, we often face data quality issues. Where seemingly open beam actually appears to be a distraction tactic by CAD vendors. Unmanageable problems with data quality in 4D and 5D phases finally force professionals to return to be closed open beam or closed beam solutions. In the end, all beam-related concepts depend on the data generated in the CAD system. Beam, EFC, closed beam, and open beam are actually consensus between leading CAD vendors aimed at keeping users inside their closed CAD product environments. Crossbeam or open beam, both concepts sidestep the fundamental question of who owns the data and who has the right to set the rules for its use. To create the illusion of data access, CAD companies force complex storage and access procedure on their customers. The entire construction industry is now forced to process the information created in CAD databases in special software from CAD providers. This results in closed EP ecosystems and marketplaces where construction companies are pushed to adapt their processes to the logic of CAD vendors. With such tools, if they are cloud-based solutions such as Forge, you have to pay at least $1 per data transaction. Solutions already based on Forge or similar BIM tools are mushrooming, and the customer is often totally enamored with the solution they are using today includes a fee for the CAD vendor's infrastructure. So what is the CAD provider charging $1 per transaction for, and what is behind of all BIM and CAD tools? If we take a closer look, it tunes out what every CAD and BIM program is just a database, what is filled by the user through a special user interface. However, instead of being able to access this database directly, we get either a closed proprietary format or non-native parametric EFC format with complex instructions on how to access this information. Because of the complexity of the format, solutions what have already been developed have to be rewritten every year to make them compatible with the latest format versions. This leads to a constant cycle of adoption and implementation, which is both time-consuming and costly. To finally make decisions based on the project information, one has to walk through several layers of APIs. This adds complexity and slows down information processing, which in turn affects the speed and efficiency of decision making. This creates an additional headache for managers because of a lack of dedicated suitable engineers, BIM coordinators and BIM managers, who need to be found to understand all the BIM and modern API programs in the companies. In the end, the construction industry has become an outdated and inefficient system compared to other sectors over the past 30 years. The CAD vendors control one of the most important information components in construction companies through monopolization. To overcome this inefficiency, construction specialists need transparent processes and user-friendly data formats that are already established in our industries. In our industries, people work with structured flat data. Data from mail, spreadsheets, documents, and databases are put into a structured flat form so that any type of information can be manipulated with the same tools, and tasks are tuned in the flow of information pipelines. In fact, all leading vendors of CAD, MCAD, ERP, and our systems worldwide use SDKs, software development kits, provided by only a few companies, to fully leverage data from third-party formats. From 2005 to 2007, Autodesk bottled SDKs what provided access to a proprietary closed AutoCAD DWG format. But after losing the legal battle, Autodesk finally tuned to companies what offer SDKs and now pays them about $200,000 a year to access to the data contained in our CAD software. Another way to obtain high quality data is to work with CAD companies. For example, thanks to a long-standing partnership with Autodesk, RIP software from Stuttgart, Germany, is able to extract data from CAD programs in a flat, structured CPM format. In Central Europe, almost all large construction and planning companies use this flat and simply structured format, CPM, to automate their processes and to use their data in ERP systems. And medium and small businesses what do not have tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy an SDK or subscribe to an ERP system now have to make to do the thousands of scripts or applications written by themselves. Democratization of data means what we need to achieve data quality from the SDK and it distribute what quality data in a simple and user-friendly format where small and medium-sized businesses can use it. The main advantage of flat structured formats is what tens to hundreds of times less code is required to access and process the data. Since we are not working with classifiers trees but with a structured table form. The concepts of data-driven construction the concepts of data-driven construction provides what all data is represented in the same way regardless of the creation tools. Professional using the data-driven construction converter can convert the data into a CSV or Excel format with a flat structure supplemented by geometric information from Collada and GLTF. Both formats are the most widely used formats in the world for the exchange of databases and geometric information. Similar flat formats have long been used in our industries. No permission from Photoshop or Adobe is required to post a video on YouTube or an image on Instagram. The same should be true for our construction industry. We should be able to use our hard-earned data freely and without restrictions, without having to ask CAD vendors. Flat, open formats enable the use of almost all common platforms on which professionals work with data. This includes tools for spreadsheets, pipelines, geometry, visualization, and simulation. These flat formats are the most popular data exchange format between database systems and solutions. Most of the data in the world today is transmitted and processed using the flat tabular CSV format. Fast data transfer enables the transition from processing individual projects to processing information continuously. Today, users still have to process one project at a time, but soon we'll be able to move to continuous processing of project information thanks to open data transfer. As part of democratization of data access, we flatten the data and bring it into a unified structure and look at each project using tools that have long been used by professionals in our sectors of economy. Comparing when communities and the number of ready-made solutions for the two non-native formats of CAD programs, EFC OpenShell, the most popular data library for working with the EFC format, is downloaded about 300 times a day. Our industries, on our hand, use pandas to process CSV data, which is used by millions of engineers from various industries and downloaded 3-4 million times a day. These popular libraries make it relatively easy to create a pipelines workflow, what leads to data-driven solutions. Almost any task now done by an information processing manager can be automated by a data analyst or data engineer who can replace the work of entire departments using language models and tools like ChatGPT. In one example, I used a pipeline to collect 20 hundreds different projects from around the world in different BIM formats and versions into a large table with tens of millions of items to analyze data from projects around the world. This example is also available in reference in code in the end. The process of the democratization of data and the introduction of data into pipelines increases the speed of information processing and retrieval by hundreds and thousands of times, while reducing labor costs by tens or hundreds of times. The transformation process does not happen overnight. The CAD transition from papyrus to CAD software took about 30 years. The transition from CAD to BIM took 20 years. It's likely that transition from BIM to flat data and automation will also take at least 10 years. And all indications are that the topic of data automation will develop in the explosive manner over the next 10 years. The transition to a forward technological order will cost many companies in construction their existence. Companies that use data to make quick decisions will be able to drive inefficient companies out of the market. The road to survival starts with data. Companies that can control their own data streams through data analysis, visualization, and pipeline will be able to survive in the construction industry. In order to survive in the race of make quick decisions, you first have to equip yourself with ATL. Once you have the data, you have to look for solutions from our industries that are already invested in automation. There are already millions of automation solutions and ready-made pipelines. What we just needed to apply to construction data. What is no different from our data in our industries, even if CAD vendors tell us the opposite. Construction has been, is, and always will be about processes and data. And it doesn't matter what acronyms you use in the last 10 years and the next 5 years. The acronyms may change, but the processes and data will remain the same in the construction industry. If you need help or advice with the transformation, the data-driven construction team will be happy to help you implement your ideas. In 2 weeks on 19th September, we'll host a separate webinar on the history of BIM, the emergency of OpenBIM and ClosBIM, explaining how we came to life like this. To attend, go to datadrivenconstruction.io and save this data in your calendar. All materials and the presentation itself are available via QR code, which can now be easily scanned. Thank you for your attention.